Hi, everyone. Welcome. Been a couple months since we last spoke, since Dame's press conference. So just to get you caught up on July, August, September. Had a great off season. Our guys got a ton of work in, probably more than I've ever seen. So just want to give them a big hat tip, to them and our staff for just getting really quality work in. As you know, we're still a young, developing team, and these guys continue to put in the work. So we're excited tomorrow to roll the ball out and see what we got. A few injury updates. I think you're all caught up on Scoot Henderson, and we can get into that a little bit. Tore his hamstring last week in some scrimmages, just 5-on-5 open pickup games. Disappointing, of course. You never want to see a guy go down, but Scoot's resilient. We'll get through this. Hopefully won't miss too much time. Hamstrings are tricky. We gave a broad timeline on it. We said 4 to 8 weeks. I've been told, it could be as quick as 4. It could take as long as 10. And sometimes, if they're stubborn, he won't feel right for even longer than that. So we're just going to rest and rehab and really be diligent about getting him back. And we'll, of course, be smart with, the tempo we bring him back at. We're obviously thinking big picture with Scoot. Other injury things. Robert Williams, he had a good summer. He had surgery towards the end of last season, so all summer long we've just been rehabbing hard, getting that strengthening back to where it needs to be, getting that balance in order. We've started to really ramp him up. We haven't cleared him for contact yet, but we're not too far away from that. My big thing is want to make sure he's in incredible shape before we put him out there on the court. Again, be smart, think big picture with Rob. Other than that, we're doing pretty good. Have a few guys with, some bumps and bruises, but other than that, we're pretty good to go. So happy to open it up. I'm sure you have many questions.
Joe, considering Scoot's injury, who else are you comfortable with playing point guard?
Yep.
So, we have some primary ball handlers still with Drew Holiday, Blake Wesley, Caleb Love on a two-way. But one thing I really like about our roster is our versatility. We've got quite a few guys who are very good with the ball in their hands. Danny Avdia, Shaden Sharp, Tumani Kamara is getting better and better with his functionality and his handles. So we're not overly concerned with it. Obviously, a player of Scoot's caliber, it's a hit. But I think talent-wise and skill set-wise throughout our roster, we'll be able to manage it while he's out.
How, considering just what a big year this could be for Scoot in terms of growth and evolution. I know you said it's disappointing, but can you contextualize that beyond with the fact that he's missing training camp, he'll be a month or two behind schedule by the time he gets out there going into his third year. How concerned are you about what the setback could represent for him?
Yeah, I mean, not concerned, just disappointed because he put in so much good work this offseason. He had a strong close to the previous season, especially that second half. So you just wanted to see him hit the ground running. The nice thing is he's been a part of everything we've done this summer. He'll still be a part of, all the new stuff we're implementing. He'll be right there learning it. So it's just getting the rust off, and that can be, a little clunky. It's funny, we dealt with this the previous 2 seasons. Anthony 2 seasons prior when he did his thumb first game, Shaden shoulder first practice last year. So you forget about those things because, they did get back in a timely manner, and the rust came off pretty quickly, and I expect the same with Scoot.
Joe's injury, is there any concern that he may eventually end up needing surgery?
Everything the doctors are telling me right now is no, he won't. It's just rest and rehab. Of course, if there's a setback, that changes things, but right now it's looking very strongly that it won't need surgery.
Joe, with the sale pending, Dwayne said when he was in here that he's gotten a chance to talk to Tom Dundon a little bit. Have you gotten a chance to talk to him, and what have those conversations been like? And then also, assuming the sale doesn't close, let's say before the trade deadline, is it still Jody and Bert that are signing off on whatever you're doing, or is Tom going to be involved in that kind of decision before the sale closes?
Yeah. Yes, I've had the opportunity to meet with Tom a few times. Again, like Dwayne said, it's some early diligence, just get to know each other meetings. Really positive interactions. Really like his mentality and what he's going to bring to the table, and I think he's going to be great for this franchise and this city. As far as how things will work until Tom officially takes over, it's pretty clear. Jody's the chair, she's the owner, she's the final decision maker until that actual transition happens, which we're forecasting sometime, next spring.
What do you want to see from Young this season? And then do you have a plan for the two-way spot that you have open?
For Hansen, really it's just day-by-day improvement. And, it's hard for a rookie in this league, especially a rookie who comes from international play, who hasn't played, other than 4 summer league games for him. He just doesn't have a lot of quality NBA reps yet. So it's more come in, build confidence, do your thing, get better and better day by day. With him, he has external things that he has to work on as well, of course, just even the English language and these types of things. So really it's just pouring into him on a daily basis, refining his skill set, getting him acclimated to our system, understanding and learning what his teammates are capable of. But with that, we're confident in his abilities and excited to see him come in and compete and potentially, win a spot in the rotation.
Joe, big picture, what are your expectations for this team this season?
This season, a little like last season, where I think we still have a lot of growth left in us, and so I want to continue to see them develop. But because of last season, I thought we took a really nice step those last 41 games, where not just in wins and losses and functionality, but in our quality of play, establishing our style of play, establishing our identity. I thought we did a lot of those things where we became really defensive-minded and understood that this is the way we need to play in order to win basketball games. So for us, I want to see us just continue to make those steps. We've got big bets on over a handful of young guys. Those guys some have popped more than others. They all need to collectively keep improving. With that, continuing to implement the other veterans that we have. We have Drew Holiday, who is obviously a really good player that we need to infuse into this roster, and that we're hoping that'll be pretty seamless. Expecting a big year from Jeremy Grant, Robert Williams once he gets back. How do we acclimate them to our young and upcoming core?
Joe, building on your saying about Hanson's day-by-day development, do you anticipate he might spend some time on the remix as part of his, growth?
I don't know yet. His big picture development is the most important thing for us. If we're finding that he's not getting enough playing time or minutes with the Blazers roster, I'll be very open-minded to getting him to the remix and just getting him as many repetitions as possible. At this stage, I haven't thought about it a whole lot because I'm more focused on, okay, how can he help the Trailblazers? But we'll be mindful, even if it's a 2-week stretch where he's not getting a lot of minutes, maybe it's okay, go play for the remix for 2 or 3 games just to keep your conditioning up and also, like I said, get more repetitions. So it's a huge asset having a G League team, especially one here in Portland where we can bring him back and forth. We'll definitely be really focused on getting him as many reps as possible.
Joe, can you recount, was there a moment or a time where you kind of fell in love with Hansen, or that he really got on your radar?
Our scouts did a terrific job identifying him early, and they also did a terrific job of educating me on his game. So really it was that over the course of that 23-24 season, a season before he declared for the draft, where I would get, every time he played, I'd get a big video edit of Hansen and, of course, watch it. And we just, over time, really grew to appreciate his game. And that book of knowledge that we acquired, or, just having that sense of comfort watching him over and over and, doing all the background work we did, it made it easier to, take what some would call a reach at 16 on him. We just had the confidence that, hey, we know this guy's game, we trust his abilities, and we're excited about him.
Was there any one performance that stood out that really kind of sold you, though?
I mean, his play in the under-19s, where he's going up against high-end prospects and holding his own. Alex Sarr and some of those kids on the French team, he held his own in that game, and I thought that was really eye-opening. And then to go and have 2 more good quality CBA seasons after that, it just reaffirmed it more than anything. And then also going into the combine, I thought he did a really good job in the combine at those 5-on-5s. That's a hard environment to play in, especially as a big man. And you can see over the course of those 2 games, the comfort level he had and his teammates had with him, because he's such a conductor. For him to be able, in such a short period of time with those guys, be able to start really fueling offense, I thought that was impressive.
Joe, at the Dame press conference last time you talked to us, you said that it's winning time now for the Trailblazers, and moves that you've made, like bringing in Drew, would kind of speak to that. Is that still kind of your approach going into the season? Is the goal the playoffs?
The goal is to compete every night. Do we want to make the play-in? Yes. Do we want to make the playoffs? Yes. Do we want to win 16 playoff games? Yes. I don't have expectations, and I won't be disappointed if those things don't happen, as long as we're continually growing. We're still thinking big picture with this roster, knowing that until our young guys are ready to help really fuel winning, we're not going to be good enough, and we're going to take that approach. But with that, we're confident in our abilities. We're confident in the additions we've made. We're expecting to be a quality team each and every night.
Joe, on that note, how do you sort of balance the understanding that you need your young guys to take the requisite jumps and adding 2 gentlemen in their middle 30s to the roster this offseason? Like, how do you square those 2 plans?
Yeah. Throughout our developmental plan, we've prioritized learning to play the right way. And to do that, we've chosen to put, it's probably not the right word, but guardrails on some of our guys, to where we're not just going to hand them the ball in 36 minutes and say, go nuts, figure it out. We want them to learn to play the right way, to earn what they get, to have accountability in their play. And we've chosen just that approach, with specifically Scoot and Shaden. I think we've seen a lot of that where, when they're playing well, when they've earned their role, they've gotten the minutes and the ball. When they're not playing as well, when their decisions get a little shaky, Chauncey pulls them back a little bit. Some of it is to protect them. Some of that is just to develop them the way we think is best, which is, a hands-on approach. In time, we hope it solves itself. Like, we talk a lot about, you're going to earn everything you get. And in time, you hope that eventually those guys just go get the ball and then never give it back. And, with some of these guys, they're already there, a guy like Denny. With others, it's still going to take some time.
Joe, I was curious, did you give Dame any tips on how to be a good GM?
It's funny, Dame and I, throughout my career, we've always talked so much about basketball. I've always admired his willingness to learn about roster building, not just scouting and identifying talent, but, I've talked about this, how much time he and I have spoken about the importance of the salary cap and how it works and the creativity that can put you ahead, or, just the necessary function of it for building a, competent roster. So we talk a lot about basketball and basketball theory. Mm-hmm.
You brought up, back to the Drew addition, just, can you go into thinking of bringing him in and just the depth of what he might provide to the young roster?
Yeah. Obviously, still a really good basketball player who, just his versatility on both ends of the floor. Still a premier defender, very, very competent offensive player. So, just adding to the overall talent, we're excited about what Drew's going to do. And, another thing we really liked about him, and this is where we're getting a little more directive in our roster building approach, is we love the fit with our other guys. Drew's somebody who is great with the ball in his hands, but he also doesn't need the ball in his hands. So for us, that's a nice fit with guys who we think can do more with the ball in their hands. A guy like Danny, a guy like Shaden, Scoot, of course. Drew's a terrific complement to them in those regards, where, he can play on or off that ball. So,
What's your stance on extending Shaden?
I never get too deep into any of these. I want to keep these private between, the player and us. I think, the way we're building this roster and the commitment level we have to all of our young guys, we're very open-minded to, if it makes sense for both them and us, we're very open-minded to, taking this out very long-term.
Joe, you mentioned, the final 41 games and identity that kind of came with that. Denny was a big part of that. How much do you kind of look to empower him, and how much more opportunity? Do you almost overtask him just to see how far his game can go?
Yeah, I think, just internally, we're so excited about who he is, where he's headed. It's going to be something we're going to ask a ton of him this year. Danny's got a complicated game. His abilities at 6'9" are rare, and dribble, pass, shoot, guard, transition, all the things that he brings. So, with him, there'll be a little bit of guardrails as well. Like, we're still trying to shape him in or help him get to where he needs to be as a player. But with that comes empowerment. And I don't see why we won't, continue to empower him like we did the second half of last season and, push it to the limit and see what he's capable of.